Growing up with a sibling is very meaningful. Siblings have a connection. They are raised together. They grow together. You could talk to them on different levels. I have a brother. Had a brother. And growing up, we fought, we talked, we had all these moments that I will always cherish in my life. But how do I now cherish these moments that he is gone? 6 months ago, I have lost my brother due to cancer. And emotionally, it's been on a roller coaster. Whether to be okay, how do you live with this? What do you do next? How do you be there for your parents? All these questions will come up and you don't know because in the same moment you are learning how to grieve. Hello everyone. This is how to grieve of a lost sibling while you're older. Oh, every day it's a new day. Every day you wake up. During a traumatic loss, you don't know how to feel different emotions. You don't know whether to be happy or sad or what to do next. What is grieving? Grieving allows the body, mind, and soul to feel a loss of someone who is now in heaven. How do you grieve a sibling who you just lost? As an adult, as children, we grieve differently. As adults, we grieve differently. Teenagers grieve differently. Everyone can grieve differently. The Mona's Bill of Rights empowers people for grieving. It adds a healing process and it helps them determine how to accept the absence of a person, sibling too. And within all of these, in this right, it states a couple of things that we as people can understand. And it gives us the right to grieve in whichever way that we need to grieve. Grieving just don't take a month or two, a year or 3. Grieving can take as long as a person might need. You have to understand, you have to feel all this type of emotions and to get better. And within social work, social workers are there to help and to guide and to lead. They are there for their clients in order to help them. But let's go back to the Mourner's Bill of Rights. It states several things. That you have the right to experience your own grief. You have the right to talk about it. And I want to go a little further into talking about it. Because a lot of times, what we do as humans is we'll hold everything in. We will hold everything in. And it's like a ticking time bomb when you hold everything in because you're not releasing it. So you're holding it in, you're not releasing it, and there might be a time where you get so frustrated that you will explode. So within this Bill of Rights, it explains that you have the right to talk about your grief. It is okay to talk about your grief. You have the right to feel physical and emotions. You have the right to say, I'm not okay. I'm sad. I'm hurting. I don't know what to say. You have the right to experience grief bursts, which is like an outburst. You have the right. You have the right to embrace your spirituality. You have the right to search for meaning. You have the right to treasure your moments. You have the right to move towards your grief and healing. Now, I kind of just want to go back to those because after my brother passed away and after we came back from New York, I tried to go back to work and it didn't work. I failed because I was just trying to do things in order to cover up my hurt. So in my mind, and anybody can say if they feel this way, you keep busy. You keep busy in order to not experience the hurt and the healing. And after my grief outburst of me crying and not knowing, I couldn't even talk about what was going on because my emotions were so full. I finally sat back and took a week. I took a week of time, trying to understand, going into the Bible and knowing that God is with me regardless of anything. God is with him and he's in heaven. And these are when the search for meaning starts to happen. I still see white butterflies. And I'm like, ever since he passed away, the white butterflies started coming around. Randomly walking, I would see my brother's name, Tony, somewhere. Whether it was somebody having the name or anything, but I would see it. And it would bring me such a great feeling of, okay, he's here. He's here. So let me take a new journey of life without him. So how do you do that? And how can a social worker help you with that? In the United States, 5 to 8% of sibling goes through this type of loss. Losing a sibling. And how do they move on from that? Emotionally, some type of questions are asked is, how can I be okay? There's socially negative and positive things that they could do. Sometimes you don't want to be around people negative. When you used to enjoy being around people, but now because of this loss is taking so much, you don't want to be around people. The positive side is now understanding that life is too short. And within life is being too short, you start to find new meaning and new purpose in day to day on, let me live, let me experience, let me make my brother proud of me. And knowing that I'm not going to quit. I won't quit. According to studies, parents reported a greater depressed symptoms and worse quality of life and more mental health from the loss of a child after losing him after 18 years. So that's another major part that I think about is my mom. Because yes, I'm grieving in the same way she's grieving. So What is our next steps? What do I do for her? How can I help her if I'm not helping myself? These are a lot of questions that go on in my mind, and as well as others too. But there is some factors in this, and especially within social workers, to help out with this grieving process. Social workers can provide a companionship to be there for you. Social workers are active listeners. They support you. And they will help validate your emotions and response as normal. So if you go to a social worker for the grief, they will be an aid to help you through this process. They can be able to talk to you, help you pull out things that you never thought about. It would even help you to talk about these things. Whether you're angry, happy, or sad, or just all these emotions in one and just can't figure out how to let it out. A social worker can be there. In Fayetteville, North Carolina, there is several local agencies that provide great work in helping with grieving. Carolina Counseling Service, New Day Counseling Center, and Can Leapley LCW are the top 3 in Fayetteville. I selected these agencies especially from calling. When you call and they seem very interesting in order to wanting to help you, it makes you feel better about that too, to go in and to talk to a total stranger. Because sometimes people say, why do I need to talk to a stranger about what I'm going through? How can this person help me? These are professionals who are aiding and assisting you, who really care for you and want to help you in order to get through this process. You don't have to grieve alone. I don't have to grieve alone. There's type of different treatments that they can help and support as well. The type of 5 that I have, it could be a group therapy, having others around who has experienced the same type of trauma that you have, and all being able to be there and to talk about it, to let it out what you're going through around others who has experienced the same type of trauma that you have. For children, it could be play therapy as well. Losing a sibling, even for a child, is not the same as losing a sibling for an adult. Complicated grief therapy, CGT. Acceptance and complement therapy, ACT. Cognitive behavior therapy, CBT. And even art therapy. These are all different type of therapies that can help within grieving. Every day, I will continue to move forward. Every day, I will use the resources that I have to understand and to know that everything will be okay. Thank you.